Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. I hope you had a great day. Let's take a look at some new r/malicious compliance stories, shall we? The first story is called No Food for You. I used to work as a care coordinator, scheduling nurses and support workers to private homes. I had hundreds of staff and thousands of clients to schedule daily, and that was just what I had to cover. I had 8 coordinators who worked alongside me with their own locations to schedule. We worked together for 8 years, and it always seemed that the nurse managers got special treatment, although we definitely were doing the brunt of the work. These nurses did not do nurse work, but rather go out once in a while or just call a client, talk to them and then write down, yes, they still need care. Anytime the coordinators had put together money for a pizza day or donut day, our nurse managers insisted that they had to be included in getting the free food, even though they never contributed. Our office manager made sure to have us include the nurses whenever we bought food for ourselves. But they never had to share with us. If the nurses decided to order pizza, which the company paid for every time, the coordinators were not allowed any. They started putting the nurses' pizza in a small locked room, so we couldn't get to it. But eventually they started using our lunchroom to keep the pizza there and just had a sign that said, nurses only. This was happening every month and a bit. So finally, at the end of my coordinator career and basically being fed up with this company, I decided screw you and started bringing in food for the coordinators. I ended up just keeping the food at my desk and had a sign on it saying only coordinators. The nurses would come over to grab some and I would tell them, oh, this isn't for you. You're a nurse, not a coordinator. They went to HR and tried to get me in trouble. But I had so many documented dates of how the nurses got paid by company lunches and had the coordinators pay solely for pizza days and whatever, where they took the food they didn't help with. So the HR just let it go. I quit soon after, thank God. The next story is called The Customer is Not Right. When I was younger, I used to work for a diner. I would like to think I was a good worker and looked out for the interest of the business over the customers. Because sometimes the customers demand ridiculous things that are not on the menu or things the restaurant will definitely lose money on. Anyway, at this diner we used to make fresh juices, which was a big craze at the time, with everyone trying to juice and be healthy. The boss was in deep debt, so he was always trying to do everything to keep the business going. One day this lady, notorious for being a pain, walks in and says she wants to try a fresh juice because she started working out. So I said, okay, no problem. What would you like in your juice? I want juice with only spinach. I'm sorry, but that's not possible. She insisted and I refused, and so she walked away upset. Before you asked, for those of you who don't have experience juicing, I can tell you that making pure spinach juice is a bad business decision on the restaurant's part. It takes a ton of spinach to make a 16-ounce glass of juice. It would take me 3 huge bags that could make maybe 10 salads apiece just to make one juice. So that's 30 meals consisting primarily of spinach just to make one juice cup. So anyway, the next morning my boss came in and said to me that the lady was complaining about me and saying that I refused to serve her. So I tried to explain to him, but he stopped me and said that whatever the customer wants is what I should give. He pretty much said, you are here for a certain job, if you don't want to do it, go home. So I said, fine, you're the boss. She comes in later that day and asks for an all spinach juice. So I do as I'm told. I went to the basement and got 3 supersized bags of spinach and started to throw them in the juicer by the fistful. As I'm about to finish, my boss is coming upstairs and sees what I'm doing and immediately flips out. What the heck do you think you are doing? Exactly what you told me to do, to make the juice for that crazy lady. Are you stupid? Look at all the spinach you are wasting. Well, I tried to tell you, but you didn't want to hear it. He ended up banning the lady from the restaurant entirely. And I was happy that he felt as frustrated as I did when he scolded me for refusing something which was for his benefit. The third story is called Food Protection. During undergrad, I worked at a deli in a major supermarket. Most of my coworkers were also in college and we all got along and generally had a good time. We usually didn't have too much trouble. But for some reason, a couple of managers had decided that they didn't like one of my coworkers. Let's call him Corey. They would nitpick his work and give him a hard time for things the rest of us never got in trouble for. One morning they decided that his 5 o'clock shadow warranted a beard net. Now this was an unusual request considering that no one without a beard had ever been told to do this before. And he had barely any stubble. And they made a big deal about it and seemed to be trying to make him feel bad about it. Cue the malicious compliance. Managers aside, I was the only female employee in the department at the time. So I stroll up and ask what's going on. They point out his stubble. I respond that I'm certain that I have eyebrow hairs longer than that, and in mock concern I ask if I should be wearing my hairnet over them. They sort of look at each other and hesitantly say no, you don't need to do that. I ask why not, because it's likely that my eyebrow hairs would be in someone's food if we are worried about chin stubble. They persist that no, I shouldn't worry about it. Then I ask about the fine hairs on a woman's face. What about those? Should I be shaving? They are catching on now. They tell him to put on a beard net and leave. He does, and so do I. Solidarity. I don't think I've seen so many people double take and start laughing before. The customers and my indirect managers thought it was hilarious. When they would ask me about it, I would just say that I was protecting the food in the store from any potential hairs, real or imagined. By noon, when the original pair of managers returned, I was having a very good day. They begged me to take the beard net off, and I pointed out that there was nothing in the store policy saying that I couldn't wear PPE, which included beard nets. I wore it until the end of my shift that day. They never bothered Corey about his stubble after that. The last story is called Professor's Compliance. I teach math at a university, including a couple of undergraduate courses. I love math, so getting paid to talk about it with people is a dream come true. And I've been doing it a long time. This particular story is from a few years ago. Teaching undergraduate math, I get a wide variety of students. The freshmen struggle with all the freedom of college life, but their math knowledge is relatively fresh from high school. And on the other end, I get several seniors who have put math off until the last year and have forgotten a lot. Amelia was just such a senior. She put off math as long as possible. But in order to graduate on time, she needed to take algebra in the fall and stats in the spring. I was teaching the algebra course she enrolled in, which was a prerequisite for the stats course. That means if she doesn't pass algebra, she can't move on to stats. She would have to retake algebra in the spring and then take and pass stats in the summer. Her graduation would be postponed for at least 3 months. Despite how important it was to pass my course, she blew off most of it. She only attended class 20% of the time. She skipped homework assignments. And worst of all, she blew off an entire exam. Got to the final exam and she needs an A to even pass. I don't know if she tried to study at all, but it was bad. She really bumps the final and ends up with an F in the course. Suddenly her grade matters to her. She emails me, asking for extra credit, a curve, or something to bring her grade up over 14% so she can pass. I politely tell her no, and wish her luck retaking the class next semester. She responds to that email asking why she got a 0% on one of the exams. She claims she took it, and to save me time, she even determined what the grade would have been based on her answers. And it is the exact score she needs to end up with a barely passing grade. How convenient. Now, I've had students try to trick me a lot over the years, but this one is new. I have never had a student claim that they took a test that I knew they didn't. I was there, and I know she was not. Cue the malicious compliance. She claims she took the exam? Well, I have all the exams in my office on campus. If she turned one in, it would be there. But I'm home for the semester and I'm not driving to campus to check for something I know doesn't exist. I email her back and say I will not be on campus until the spring semester. But if you want to wait for a month, I'd be happy to look for your exam when I return. I would just have to put a hold on your grade until then. She happily agrees. I don't know if she thought I was just bluffing to test her, but she says that's great. So when I submit grades for the whole class, I set her grade to pending. Now here is where this gets malicious. She can't sign up for math classes until she has a grade for mine. She can't move on to the next one and she can't retake this one. By putting a hold on her grade, she can't sign up for any math classes for a month. By then, she will have to hope something is open that fits her schedule. Most likely, it will be an early class. About a week later, she emails me and says she would like me to just submit the F so she can sign up to repeat the course. I respond with, "I'm sorry, but I would have to be on campus to submit the paperwork. And as I said, I won't be back for a month. But I would be happy to submit the F for you as soon as I return." Spring comes and I check for the exam. To no one's surprise, I couldn't find it, and so I submitted the F. She is officially able to enroll in math classes again. I checked a couple of weeks later, and she did manage to get enrolled in the course, but the only section left was at 8 AM. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.